Howdy! This video will provide you with more information about the Bachelor's of Science degree in Agricultural Economics, as well as the opportunities that are available with this degree. So what do you need to know about a degree in agricultural economics from Texas A&M University? First of all, this is going to be an applied degree option. So agricultural economics will focus on the financial side of the agricultural industry as a degree, but this option will also allow you to focus more on the applied side of economics. So rather than staying with the theoretical, this degree will teach you how to focus on applying what you've learned in classes to real-world situations. The other great thing about this program is that it allows you to tailor your degree towards your interests. It's a little bit more focused and a little bit more flexible than, say, the agribusiness program. So if you are choosing a degree in agricultural economics, you get to choose a concentration that we'll talk about a little bit more later on that will help you refine your career interest and incorporate as much of the coursework that you're interested in as possible. Again, too, there are more elective spaces with this particular degree. So if you want to work in minors, study abroad, or internships, there's a lot more flexibility with this program. The Department of Agricultural Economics offers many opportunities for students majoring in this program, and so you might want to consider some of these extracurricular or departmental opportunities in terms of enhancing your particular degree and your coursework. Many times students come in and they think, oh, I can't do study abroad or internships or minor coursework because it will add time to my graduation date, and that's not necessarily the case. So be sure to visit with your academic advisor, because with this program, students are able to do internship for degree coursework, and they can also use study abroad and minor coursework to meet existing degree requirements. You can kind of check off two boxes at once. There's also a Department of Agricultural Economics honors program as well. So for students who are transferring in with a 3.5 GPA or above, or if you have a specific score on the ACT or SAT, you are eligible to apply for this particular program. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely let your advisor know so that they can help you as you start navigating the coursework for this. There's also several student organizations as well and scholarship opportunities to consider. For first-year freshmen that are entering the Department of Agricultural Economics, we require that they take AGEC 101, which is a 0 credit hour course. This freshman first-year experience course is specifically for students in both the agribusiness and agricultural economics majors. So it's a great way to meet fellow students that are interested in these same programs and will also be attending classes alongside you for the next 4 years. When you're looking at the coursework for this, sometimes students will ask, okay, if it's a 0 credit hour course, why do I need to take it? And the main thing is that Texas A&M requires that all freshmen be enrolled in a first-year experience course. So there are a couple of options if you wanted to enroll at maybe the college level or something like that, or perhaps you are coming in and you have a certain attribute that requires you to sign up for one of the Hullabaloo U sections. But this section is specifically for the students in your major, and so it's a great way to get connected, to get involved, and we highly recommend that you do this particular one. Also, we've kept ours as a 0 credit hour course because we're able to work in more fun experiences to the course. So we do go over some important information that you need to know as a student, important information to know about the department, and just tips for succeeding as a student in general. But also last year we worked in things like a scavenger hunt, some fun projects, service group activity, things like that. So highly recommend that you consider registering for the AGEC 101 section. When choosing a degree in agricultural economics, as I mentioned earlier, you get the opportunity to choose a concentration to kind of tailor things according to your interests. The different concentrations that are available are as follows. So you have finance and real estate, which is pretty self-explanatory. It will deal with banking, real estate, that sort of thing if you want a career in that area. Food marketing systems is going to involve a lot of coursework that's towards marketing or sales or something along those lines. Again, too, with food marketing systems, this can involve corporations that you don't necessarily think of as being connected with ag. So, if you're not sure what goes into this particular category, you can definitely reach out to an academic advisor or to a career center coordinator as well. With the policy and economic analysis concentration, this is geared towards students who are interested in law school, grad school, extension work, that sort of thing. So if that's what you're planning on doing after you finish your bachelor's degree, this might be the concentration you'd want to consider. consider. There's also a concentration in rural entrepreneurship for students who want to own their own business. And the title is designated as rural entrepreneurship, but really it's just, whatever you want to have for your own small business that can go under this category. So this concentration will teach you how to come up with your business plan and design it, anything from movie theaters to wedding planning to coffee shops to cow-calf operations, barn dominiums, just whatever you're interested in for your personal business. This is what this concentration will focus on. There's also a minor available too if you're not sure if you want to do this complete concentration for your coursework. Another option that AGEC majors have is a 3+2 program for a Master's of Public Service and Administration through the Bush School. So if you're interested in having some of your graduate coursework begin a little bit early, if you are planning on perhaps pursuing this degree, this is an option that some students can consider to have their undergraduate requirements and their graduate degree requirements met at the same time. So when you graduate, you actually have a bachelor's and a master's. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely visit with your academic advisor. One of the other important things you'll need to consider is the AGEC 317 progress. So AGEC 317 is not offered in the summers and it cannot be taken concurrently with the prerequisites of Econ 323, STAT, etc. So you want to make sure, because there's so many prerequisites that are going into this class, that you have everything in order and you're completing everything in a timely manner. Because again, if you do not get these prerequisites done for the course, it can delay when you get to the AGEC 317 course, which can delay your taking certain courses from the 400 level. So you want to make sure that you visited with your advisor to set up your schedule, make sure that you're on track. Also, we highly recommend that students avoid taking Econ 323 and STAT 303 in the same semester if they can at all help it. Sometimes there are situations where you do have to take it, and again, you might want to visit with your advisor to figure out how to have a balanced schedule, but this is a combination we typically recommend that students avoid. Also, if you're looking at the STAT requirement, we usually suggest that you take STAT 303. We also accept 302 or 301, but the 302 and the 301 are geared more towards the sciences, and the 303 will be the most relevant towards what you want to do for your career. When it comes to the core curriculum coursework, your best resource here, italicize, underline, bold, the best resource here is going to be core.tamu.edu. This is going to be the place that will help you identify which classes can meet these specific requirements. The core curriculum at A&M is basically a requirement that each student, no matter what their major, has to do in order to be a well-rounded student. There's just certain components that each student is required to participate in, to complete. Now, with certain requirements on the core curriculum, we require very specific classes just because they are better connected with this particular major. So for example, if we're looking at the 6 hours of core math coursework, the AGEC major will require Math 140 and Math 142 or a couple of approved substitutes, but we usually require the 140 and the 142 and suggest those because the courses are going to provide the information that's most relevant to what you're wanting to do with your career. When it comes to the 3 hours of social behavioral science requirement, AGEC already requires AGEC 105 as part of the major coursework, and because this class is a core social and behavioral science, you're kind of checking that box off at the same time that you're already doing something that you have to do for the degree. So don't worry about picking a separate social and behavioral science. AGEC 105 will meet that requirement. When it comes to the 6 hours of communication requirement, the agricultural economics major requires that 3 out of those 6 hours be coming from English 103 or English 104 as a part of the requirement. We do accept the English 103, however, that class is not typically offered here at A&M, and so you would most likely be looking at the English 104 if you're taking it here at Texas A&M. When it comes to the political science requirement, you really just have 2 options, but the other options that are listed here, the creative arts, the language, philosophy, and culture, life and physical science, there's a lot of different options here, and as long as it's on that list at core.tamu.edu, you are able to take it. Something that I do usually suggest that you consider is that students have to complete both an ICD and a CD elective by the time they graduate. ICD stands for International and Cultural Diversity, degree, and CD stands for cultural discourse. And basically these are attributes that are associated with specific classes. So by the time you get to graduation, out of all of the 120 hours that you took, at least one had to have an approved international or ICD attribute, and another one had to have an approved CD or cultural discourse attribute. And so if you don't kind of look at your degree and plan things strategically to where you've taken a class that also had this attribute, and you get down to the end of the 120 and you still haven't taken these classes with those attributes, so you then have to essentially take two separate classes just to meet those ICD and the CD requirements. So it's much more efficient if, when you're looking at your core coursework, like your language philosophy and culture or something like that, to look for a core language philosophy and culture that is also a CD class, or a creative arts elective that is also an ICD class, to kind of just check off two boxes at once. When it comes to the life and physical science requirement, we are also a math-based major. We do not care as much about the science because that's not the main focus of the degree. So you do not have to take something like biology or advanced physics or something like that, a science class that is geared towards someone who wants to go into a scientific career. So you can choose something like an ag-related science or a geoscience. There's a lot of different options here, but again, as long as it's on that list at core.tamu.edu, it will work for this particular category. As I mentioned earlier, it's very easy to work in minor, study abroad, and internship to the degree in agricultural economics because there are certain areas on the degree plan that are already geared towards minor coursework, or again, these extra experiences, just by how these categories are defined in terms of, what requirements can be met, things like that. So for example, the technical ag elective up in the upper left-hand corner, that can be met by any course from the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences, or it can be met by coursework going towards a minor, study abroad, or internship. And so let's say, for example, if you are looking at working in the Weston Agri-Food Sales minor, because any minor that's offered by the Department of Agricultural Economics is very easy to fit in, just because a lot of the courses required for it are already required for the major. So it's again not going to add a lot of extra time to what you want to do. So if you were looking at the sales minor and thinking that sounded kind of interesting, you could say, okay, I'm going to be strategic with what I choose to check off these existing boxes that I have to do for my degree. So you could say, all right, I'm going to take the 1 hour sales minor course 216 towards maybe one of my general electives. So that's going to help me check off a box for the major, box for the minor. And then with the degree in agricultural economics, you have 9 hours of something called a directed AGEC elective, where basically you get to pick just any AGEC course that you want to take that wasn't already required by number on your degree plan. So if you wanted to be strategic here, you could say, okay, I'm going to take AGEC 315, I'm going to take AGEC 316, and I'm going to take AGEC 416 for these areas. And again, as I mentioned, if you're looking at a minor from the Department of Agricultural Economics, it's very easy to work in because these last two remaining classes that are required for the minor are already required for the degree, no questions asked. So you would have the space to work this whole minor in without adding any extra time. Now, you don't have to do a minor from the Department of Agricultural Economics. Students at A&M can do up to 2 minors in whatever area that they're interested in. So let's say you wanted to work in an econ minor as well, because the econ minor is one of the other ones that's very, very easy to work in. These 3 classes that are at the top are already required for the degree, so you have to do those, no questions asked. So you're, again, progressing towards the major requirements and the minor requirements at the same time. For the AGEC 430 class, we actually accept Econ 311 as a substitute, and so you would be able to check off a box for the degree and also a box for the 6 hours of 300 to 400 level electives. So you would only need one more class to finish out that Econ minor, and that could go towards your non-AGEC elective, because that category is either met by a specific list of coursework, or again, courses going towards minor, study abroad, or internship. And then you'd still have space to work in, study abroad or internship as well through some of your remaining general electives or non-AGEC electives, depending. So again, this is just one example of how you can work things in, but it's a great idea to visit with your advisor so that you can figure out if you're able to work in everything that you're interested in pursuing. If you're a student who has been admitted to the honors program, you have to take a minimum of 18 hours of honors coursework according to a specific distribution. This is not 18 hours of honors coursework in a single semester. This is 18 hours between now and graduation. But you need to make sure that you're thinking about incorporating the honors elements when you're registering for your upcoming semester's schedule. Students that have been admitted to the honors program have to take either AGEC 105 or AGEC 217 as honors. So if you are planning to participate in the program, or if this is something you're interested in, definitely talk to your advisor before your registration session, because sometimes if you wait until after your first semester to apply to the program, you might have already ruled yourself out from applying because you already took both AGEC 105 and AGEC 217 as non-honors sections. So if the program is something that you want to participate in, definitely talk to your advisor. I've included the contact information here for the AGEC undergraduate program, so if you have any questions, you can call at 979-845-4911. The website that's listed here also has a great resources and forms section that is the place where you can find force requests, minor forms, things like that. But we highly recommend that you follow at least one of the social media accounts. Not saying you have to, but we really do recommend it, just because we share a lot of the important updates and reminders on these social media accounts, and it's a great way to make sure that you don't miss the important announcements and run into trouble later on. So if there are things like, again, Q-drop deadlines coming up, get your form in now, things like that, we remind students quite a bit. Or maybe if we have a drop-in advising period happening, and it's like, hey, we're offering this time today from 2 to 4. We usually announce it on the social media pages as well. So again, be sure to follow at least one of those. Hope this information helps. If you have any other questions, we will be happy to answer them. Have a great day.